you got any final thoughts for the show?
Make jukes, not war.
Can we edit that out?
Nope. I had my game face on.
I think we can.
Hello and welcome to my first custom. Now this isn't a recap video, I mean it sort of is. It's looking a little bit dusty now, which means I need to dust it off, but either way, it still looks rather good. This is my Ferrari Testarossa from Matchbox that I was challenged by Jay's Diecast Creations to sort of restore or customise, to which I have done. And a few months ago I was out hunting and I found this in a charity shop, which is a Matchbox Ferrari F40. I had to pick it up and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with it, but then recently I decided, you know what, I'm going to try and customise it. I'm going to do what I did with the Testarossa, which is restore it. As you can see, we have some rather bad chipping around here, which means I can't really save the paint, so I can't really buff it. So what I can do is, instead of that, I can either do a barn find piece, or I can try and sort of restore it, repaint it, refinish it, which I kind of want to do. But little parts like this indentation here would be very, very hard to scuff up, same as the underneath the wing. So I'm now thinking, should I do a sort of a scuffed up barn find of this car? I quite like the looks of it. Of course, these are full carbon fibre, so it wouldn't have any rust, but I can cover it full of dirt. Not real dirt, but I can cover it full of a bunch of you know, brown dirt, and sort of scuff up a few areas here and there, which I quite like the idea. So I'll see what I decide. I have the drill here just in case I want to use it. I have the paints in there for detailing, and we'll see what we want to do, because I'm not entirely sure yet. Oh right, here we are, side view. Move little pieces out the way and we'll get this packaging open, ready for some use. Now I've never actually used wet and dry sandpaper before, but I know how to use it. You sort of fold it up, so it's small enough for the cast. We don't want the sheet too big. Maybe one more fold, just like that. Give it back on paper. Camera. Then you want to just nicely wet it up, both sides. Scrape off the excess, or not scrape off, but let the excess go, and then just start. Doesn't matter which radial direction you go in, just make sure you're taking off as much paint as you possibly can for the best finish. You can do that on or off camera, it doesn't really matter. So I'll cut back when I'm finished. As you can see, it doesn't really matter, just scrape off that finish and get ready for the next step. Quick side note before we get more into it, I have some lemon wipes here, same as lemon spray, and I'm going to use this to cleanse the surface of the paint before I paint it, as any contaminants or little bits of dust should come off with this, and it also should decontaminate the paint as well, which should work very well. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything goes well in the first bit. Now, I must add, after I've finished this is not a really great method if you want fantastic, sort of perfect results, as you can see the paint is still very much there in some spots, but for the most part it is ready. You've scuffed the surface up and it's ready to be painted. But first, before we do any of that, we must decontaminate the paint. We must wash it off, get any sort of contaminants off of the paint, drip dry it off, let the water run off. But first, before any of that, move the water well out of the way before you spill it on yourself. All the way over there. I'm using that lemon wipe I was on about. And then you just want to decontaminate the paint. So I made it as big as you possibly can and just cover every area on the cast. Interior, exterior, little wings, everything. Just decontaminate everything. Get every little speck of dust off, because any speck of dust that will be on the paint will show and will ruin your sort of finish of the car. So make sure you decontaminate the paint before painting any primer or anything onto the cast. Make sure you decontaminate every single scratch. So on this 40, this F40, for the most part it's very simple, but this wing is a pain. So you want to just get everything and clean it out. Before we start, I'm using regular white paint, or white primer, apologies. Make sure you have the car propped up. I'm using a stone as it won't actually be seen in the body. This isn't a very conventional or easy way of doing it. I'm just showing this as a very basic start to get you guys into sort of repainting, as this is sort of my learning steps and I'll eventually get bigger and better. The paint is the same paint I used on the Testarossa. It's a double acrylic red paint. It's actually Toyota Red 3E, and it leaves a very nice finish. Remember to use clear coat after this. So let's get into it. And the F40 is officially finished. I have a few little bits to tweak about with, but for the most part I am extremely happy with the way this thing came in. I managed to detail the exhaust, as you can see there, with black, and detail the rear lights with red. The glass was really good after finishing it with a quick little wash. The interior, as in the engine bay, was still very nice. The chrome was still exceptional. And I decided to detail the interior seats with red, as the actual car does have red seats. They aren't the greatest, but on camera they look fantastic, and through the glass they look okay, so that's all I want. The paint finish isn't the greatest, you can see on the bonnet, but for a homemade DIY job I can't ask for anything better. I mean, the wheels are in perfect condition. I did a little bit of detail on the vents there. I'm really happy with the way this thing came out. I'm glad I did it justice. I'm just going to paint the edges of this bit black, and then I'll be finished, as I didn't quite get enough spray on them, but I am just really happy with this. I even managed to bend the wing back into shape. I'm just so happy. It looks brilliant from every single angle. And if you're wondering what type of paint I used Aquacolor by Revell. These are about £3 per pot, about £2, about that mark, from Hobbycraft in England. And this is Anthracite, or Zit. It's a matte paint, similar to black, more of a grey, and it works perfectly for this sort of thing. So without further ado, commence the finished pictures. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't be scared of any of this type of thing. The most thing I can advise of this thing is take your time and don't rush into anything, and use proper aerosol paints if you're going to use this type of method, because painting paints on just looks terrible. And if you're not going for a rough look, as in a bomb find or anything like that, if you paint them with a brush, it just looks terrible. So always go for a spray-on type of paint. Without that said, let's go for some photos. Stay safe, everyone. Have fun, and of course, stay juking.